at any given time, at any given region or place. So, one minute I'd be working on a server in the UK, the next minute I'd be working on a server in, China, things like that. And mitigating any issues that arose with those.
So any significant examples of those, any issues that you mitigated?
Trying to think back to that far. Yeah, so we'd have servers, that would go down and they'd lose network connection, and we'd get alerted to that. And we had a system set up, what's called ILO. You'd be able to, connect on the back end, so you could still connect to the server even though it wasn't on the network. And whether or not we could determine whether or not there was a local network outage. And for the most part, the network guys, if there was a network outage, they would find out about it, or sometimes, we would alert them to it before, because we'd get notifications first that our server was offline, and then kind of escalate that to them. Or if some services stopped working on the server, whether it was print services or Active Directory services, and users couldn't log in, they're in London, they can't log in at the office, we log in and fix fix any issues with that, restart services, making sure the server's in good working order, things like that on that level. Yeah.
All right. And let's see. So were you ever able to track any bugs here, or improve any sort of software?
Mostly just kind of made recommendations. Didn't do any bug tracking. We had a fully staffed development programming crew, and then technical writers. We had full staffs of that. We would support them on anything they needed server wise, things like that, but never really involved with bug tracking or things like that. They would take care of that for the most part. Well, if they needed assistance on things, we would assist. And if they figured out something was going on with the server, whether a patch that got through, broke the application or whatnot, we'd roll back a patch, things like that. But
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other projects that you worked on here, or were you involved in any other initiatives?
Yeah, there was a lot of projects, a lot of initiatives that were done through there. Most of those are on my career benchmarks, and I should have noted PPD where they're at. I can go through there and kind of maybe shoot you an email with that information. It'd probably be a little more in depth than, but like this PPD 3D, which was it's called Protosphere, but we made changes and implemented to our needs. It's kind of a interesting information where it's because they were a global company, so people couldn't physically be present at meetings. So what they would do is this would be like a virtual reality meeting room, if you will. And I mean, it had like a person, you had your avatar, you would log in, and your avatar would be there, and there was meeting rooms you could walk to. And then the presenter would be up front. You would sit in your chair, and then the presenter would be up front presenting the meeting. And there would be a slideshow projected, within the virtual meeting area. And so it was integral in implementing that and spinning up the servers to get that implemented, deploying the applications to the computers for the people who used it. And then, that Caliber RM that I listed on there, that
Mm-hmm.
was a tough one to deal with when implementing the patching solution behind that. It was way out of date when I came in contact with it, and it wasn't working right for the developers. So they able to get that working correctly and patching it on a monthly or bi-monthly basis when needed. Um, then the Xerox Centerware, they had a lot of Xeroxes that were in place, and they were just kind of out there on their own. And I was able to implement that Centerware, so we had one central
Mm-hmm.
location to
Okay.
manage those print servers, networking, and then provide numbers to Xerox on how much we were printing and stuff like that, and that would there'd be a charge behind all that for you because we rented those. Xerox are rented; they're not. We didn't own those,
Okay.
so yeah.
All right. So, right. So, any other initiatives you can think of that saved costs or money or increased the efficiency in some way?
Not off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
what
I'll go
about
back
like
through.
the customer? Sorry?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, what about like quality overall and how you dealt with customers and with systems administration? I'm assuming that uptime and downtime and all of these things are also important, right? Anything
Yep.
about those? Yeah.
So I believe I provide a exceptionally high quality customer service to anybody I'm working with, right? So even though they might be my coworker, even though they might be my colleague, if they have a problem,
Mm-hmm.
they're my customer. They're my customer. I need to make them happy.
Yeah.
I need to make sure they're adequately taken care of. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I treat everybody with the same respect. I don't, I treat, our property accountant with the same respect as I treat our CEO, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and in a lot of cases, the property accountant's issue might be more important than the CEO's issue. So I'll just let
Yeah.
them know, hey, I gotta fix this up first, and then and then I'll come see you and and take care of whatever you need. I'll do that in a nice, professional manner to where all parties are happy, all issues are resolved, um, in a timely manner as well. Just
Mm-hmm.
um, very rarely, I did get one complaint against me a while, but I know we don't want to put that on a resume. But the CEO
Yeah.
did complain about me one time and said I was rude. Well, I wasn't trying to be rude. They just caught me off guard, and I was, email could be construed in different ways, and I just typed in a quick short answer because I was so busy, and then there was that was like the only incident in my 13, 14 years of technical support that somebody has ever accused me of anything like that. And it just kind of threw me off guard because, I'm usually,
Mm-hmm.
used to getting compliments. And with user support, a lot of times, they'll call in very unhappy, about the situation, especially with the laptop that I was talking about earlier. This person's
Mm-hmm.
very unhappy with their laptop.
Yeah.
They think the sky is falling. Well, I have a demeanor about me to where I can present it to them, and I just make people feel better about their tech situation, I guess, if you will. When they're talking to me, I express a certain level of knowledge in regards to what I'm talking about, to where it makes them feel comfortable that they're in good hands, and that they're taken care of, that their situation is not going to go unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's what you're looking
Perfect.
for.
I don't know. we'll work that in somehow. All right. So, and what about documentation here during this role? Did you improve that in some way?
Not too much. Any kind of new applications or anything that came through, any documentation pertinent to our company at the time would have been written up by the technical writers, things like that. A lot of times, the companies we were buying the software for, they would write the documentation behind that. I do most of the documenting with systems here at Capstone. There was less back then and more focused on ensuring business critical systems were maintained and
Mm-hmm.
running. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And okay, so let's talk about these promotions here. Can you tell me why you were promoted so often?